Welcome back to the Canna Connect Show. I'm your host, Steven Eigenman, and today we're sitting down with Gus from Dutchie. Gus flew in today from Ohio. We're going to talk about Minnesota. We're going to talk a little bit about Dutchie, and honestly, it was a great conversation around the journey that it takes as young professionals or millennials to find our comfort zone. Dutchie, largest tech-backed cannabis company in North America. Canna Connect has grown and is continuing to go through iterations, like never staying constant. Appreciate Dutchie for supporting the Canna Connect Show and helping bring this vision to life. We're super thankful, and let's get into it. We actually couldn't do this show without Dutchie.
Yeah.
And so it's really amazing that you're here, that you're a part of it from day one. Like we talked about, July, August, September, October, where we activated, and we're continuing to activate. One thing that really stood out to me yesterday was how Open Window brought additional lighting, and how that was driven by the production company because they want Canna Connect to succeed.
Yeah.
And they want all of the brands that are a part of it to look nice, and so that it's better for everyone.
Yeah.
It's even better for the viewer at home that's watching it.
Well, especially, you think about, my favorite movie of all time is like The Godfather, but you think about, you watch those movies and everybody's always going to go, turn the brightness up. I can't see this. And it's like, no, that's how it was designed, but we're also not trying to do the cinematography of The Godfather. Like, we want to make sure you can see everything. We want to make sure that like everything is like present and visible, because I think it's just, think about every time, like I've worked an office job, I've been in like the cubicle with like the fluorescent lights over top of me, right? It can just feel a little suffocating. And then like when we have light, it just makes it bright and airy. And I think the same thing, also kind of helps keep people up, right? Especially when we're talking for a while, we're going for a long time. I think it's like always one of those things where, like just if it's brighter in here, it's also just like on some level, like I'm more engaged because it's less places to just like kind of shrink out of the way and hide, but then also it's like, like we're in bright light, like we're doing this. And I think it's just going to show too, like learning how to like change, learning how to adapt, like being able to pivot. Because I think sometimes when you're trying to launch new things off the ground, it's always the thought of, oh my God, are we gonna get this perfect for the first time? Oh my God, is this gonna be, this happened. I was late this morning, right? And
how's it going to be received?
And it's just the thing of like, everything's going to happen. What can we control? What can we focus on? And I think the thing that has been like the most important is we focus on the content, right?
Yes, improving.
Like just leading with, hey, we want this to be an informative session for you. Like we want you to get value out of this versus just, oh, there's a person I can talk to. There's a person that can sell me something, right? Like,
I used to do more of advertising these, and now I'm trying to do more of advertising this.
I think it's the difference is everybody hears about everything as like some group, like same with like everybody's like, oh, Dutchie this, and I'm sure there are people that if they don't say it now, in the future will be, oh, Canna Connect this, right?
Oh yeah.
And I think when you think about that, it's like, well, like anything that's like a faceless thing, you're gonna have some level of skepticism, right? And that's my thing is like, yes, if you're talking with me, we're having a conversation about Dutchie, right? Like, because that is my job and that is what I'm doing, but I'm also a human being. Like, if you don't want to talk about like Dutchie stuff right away, great. I want to know you as a person. I want to know like what your actual like dreams are. Like we talked a little bit yesterday about like kind of like where you guys are now, and then like 5 years from now, like what the goals are, like what the hopes are, but also kind of go into what one of the people on the panel said yesterday. It's this whole thing of like, it's great to know what we want to be 5 years down the road. And it's great to plan for that before we even open up. But in the same token, you have to be prepared to be a single store operator before you can think about being a MSO. You have to plan to be a small craft grow before you can think about doing like industrial sized, like, outputs, right?
You're bringing up some great points, Gus. Everybody, Gus from Dutchie, if you haven't met him before, get to know him. The first thing that I'll start with from early, I don't want to lose the point, is like, we're outdoor plants. Yeah. We like sun, we like air, we like the ability to breathe. I think you and I are both young dads. Is that right?
No, I'm a dog dad.
Dog dad.
But Hank is very demanding, so I will say that.
My brother he's a dog dad. And when things get out of control, you take them for a walk. Yes.
Let's get out of the house. Let's break up the routine, break up the pattern.
And you're not always able to do that in a traditional corporate environment.
100%.
Like you talked about, and Natalie's over here, and Natalie could not stand going back to a traditional corporate environment after her last job ended. And it's like, if you're in that environment for too long, you just get accustomed to it.
Yeah. So I was supposed to be a high school English teacher, and then I kind of decided, like, my last year of college, like, I don't necessarily know that this is what I want. And I'm the kind of person that, like, there's some, like, positions in life that are like callings, like nursing and like medicine. Those are callings. Like teaching, that is a calling. Like, you're not doing that because you want to make money, or you're not doing that for like the status of it. You're doing that because you believe and care. And like for me, it was like this.
You're
this
doing
thought
it for
of like
45 years.
Oh yeah, it's just this thought of like, okay, so I go to corporate America, right? Which is,
you end up selling books.
I end up selling textbooks, yeah. So like, just kind of like, okay, how do we use this degree? Like, how do I make mom and dad happy and say, well, look at what I went here for 4 years and I'm doing the thing. It's different, right?
There's no pause button after college.
No, there's no, like, I mean, I would have loved to have been in like a position to be like, oh, I'm going to do a gap year. I'm going to go live in Europe. I'm going to go do this.
In between high school and college, or even after college.
Yeah. But it's just like, no, like you have the momentum. You got to take the momentum right now, you know? And I think that goes along to like kind of everything that we've been talking about, where it's like, where is the momentum and what are you doing with it? And for me, you know, the momentum just kind of became like, okay, you're living in Cleveland, you were born here, you'll probably die here, but like in between, like, what do you want to do? Like, where do you want to go? So I went west. I went to Texas. I went to Denver. I lived in different places for a while, you know, tasted of life, tasted of different stuff, you know, got out of textbooks, got into cybersecurity, and then pandemic happened, and it was kind of this thing of, okay, like I'm in this corporate America environment. It's very, if you can learn the rules, you can live inside of it, right? Because like I was a person that I'm working a corporate, like, you know, white collar job, and
it's
also like I'm just, yeah, it's a jungle gym, but I'm also like, you know, okay, we've got to do all these things because these are the directives, and then everything inside of that is yours, right? So like being like somebody who enjoys cannabis in corporate America, 11 years ago when I got out of school, like that was still very like, I remember having somebody come up to me in the office and be like, hey, I heard that you like to smoke weed. And I was just like, not here. Shut up, right? Like, just no, don't do this to me. Like, I need this job. I don't want to go home, right?
You got two different personalities, two different sets of rules.
Two different sets of rules. And then the thing is, too, is that it's almost like, you know, when we talk about authentic selves, right? Like, for me, I think when you're in corporate America, there's always this thing of that, like, you are representing the company and the company does not always align with you and align with your values, right? One of the things I really liked, and one of the reasons why I'm at Dutchie, is not just because of like what I saw them doing from like a business standpoint when I joined, that I was like, okay, that seems like the right move for the industry, but also like my interview process was probably one of the best that I'd had in terms of just, it was long. Like, it was multiple interviews, which everybody will talk about. I did 6-7 interviews, right? Like, I did, I think 4 or 5 with them. But it's just like, that's still a lot, right? But in the same token, every point of the process, it was reinforced, hey, we really like you. Like, it's not like we looked at your resume and we think you've got the skills. It's like, your resume got you into this conversation with us, talking with us, we like you. And
Keep going.
And when they told me that, you know, they were going to hire me, one of the things they like keyed into was like, we really like you as a person and we want you to be your authentic self, right? So I've never felt like in Dutchie, and of course there's being polite, you know, and there's stuff like that, but I've never felt like it's been a thing of, I have to choose between, do you see the real Gus or do you see like some type of like business presentation, right? Like, I'm same guy. Like,
even
you talked to me on a sales call,
same
guy.
Even on our first call, it was a Zoom call. I was not at home, you know. That stands out. And like, how long have you been there?
So I just celebrated 4 years last month. So I think, you know, you hear anybody in the industry joke, cannabis years or dog years, right?
28.
So, 20 years. So
28 years with Dutchie,
28
everybody.
years at Dutchie. I'm ready to retire soon. Another year, it'll be 35 and I can get my pension, right? No. God, that's
how it
the
used
dream.
to be.
That's the dream.
Did you have uncles that like grew up with pensions or family members? Because like that seems like a generation before us.
I think, and that's like this weird place that we're in, right? Where we're watching like some of these systems and some things just kind of be like, oh, like, you know, like what's this going to be like in 30 years? Like, okay, this is, my parents are getting into like, their mid 60s now. And it's this thing of, okay, like 10 years from now, what does the landscape look like for mom and dad? Like, what does this look like? And I think it's always hard to put your finger on like that. But I think if you think about what can happen and you prepare yourself, or you put yourself in a position where you can deal with the most amount of possibilities, right? And I think part of that's just my ADHD, and that this like, okay, we got to account for every possible permutation of you asked me how I slept, and I'll tell you, I slept good, but I think delayed sleep. And then also when I woke up this morning, it's like, okay, Stephen asked me this, I'm going to say this. Stephen asked me this, I'm going to do this. And like, if this, you know what I mean? Like, it's all this, where could this go? And it's this thing of, I think a big sense of peace I found in the cannabis industry is there's a degree that you can give up control, right? There's a degree that you can just go, hey, like, lawsuits happen in markets, right? When like licenses get up, like we saw something similar with the OCM where first lottery was kind of like, it didn't go as well as I think everybody expected. And then of course we kind of had to pivot, change the whole thing. So when we were talking about last year, then we started talking about this spring, then we started talking about this summer, right?
Well, and totally, if I think back to a year ago, the lottery was about to happen, like Dutchie probably had a completely different perspective on, and everyone was kind of wondering, because the idea of merit-based versus lottery, that was a large discussion last year, 12 to 15 months ago.
Yeah.
And then, as what I talked about with Munir on the previous episode, we think they got guidance to avoid lawsuits.
Yeah, I mean, look at like some of the like other markets. Like I think about, for example, right now, like Georgia has had a medical program, I think that's been approved for at least the last 2 years.
Okay.
And these licenses are like awarded in some way, shape, or form, but they're not officially awarded. And then the second they were awarded, people that did not receive one filed injunctions, filed lawsuits, because it's like, and yes, we want to make sure the process is fair and transparent, and that is very important, and that is key, because you kind of talked about the merit-based versus the lottery-based. I think when we talk about those two things, it's what kind of opportunity do we want to talk about for the market, right? Is this something where we only want this to be for folks that like, you could already have done this, you could have done this in another field, like you have the capital, you have the means, so it's not even something to think about, versus, okay, these are people who have either been impacted by cannabis or have just been like life, and now this is something
I call
where
them first-time founders.
Yeah,
a lot of them are first-time.
I love that. And it's just this idea of, can we give you the opportunity to build this, right?
Right.
Because I think it's, it's hard right now. I think right now, especially like everything going on, like I don't think we're in this world of like, oh, everybody is in cannabis just wants to throw money at you, right? Like, I used to tell people like, oh, like really the hardest part in a new market is just getting your license. And like, you don't have funding, don't worry, because somebody will show up and want to be an investor, or somebody will show up and want to do this. And sure, to a degree, but I think also it's just, where are these opportunities, right? Where do we want these opportunities to be, right? Do we want this to be a market that is for everybody? Do we want this to be something that is, open and like anybody can have an opportunity to try and succeed? And also like part of that opportunity is also failing, right? But
I mean, the safe spot for me, and maybe it's not the safe spot for Dutchie, but home grow. And then the other aspect is like a sandbox.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the park that we go to, and it's like, okay, it's a large area full of sand. As it relates to the industry, what molds are you showing up with already to build your castle?
That's a great question. I also love the analogy, because now I'm also thinking about like, I gotta get back to the beach.
Where do you like to go? What do you got?
I mean, I'm Greek, so the homeland calls me quite often. Like the rock beaches there, but high school and like college, I spent a lot of time in Hilton Head, South Carolina with my folks. If you're listening here and you know anybody from Ohio, or you're from Ohio, you know that a lot of us like to go to the Carolinas when it gets cold, or like just to hang out. I don't know why we picked those states.
Not far.
Yeah, no, not far. You can get in the car and you can go. We like to get in the car and go in the Midwest. I think that's the thing. I was talking with somebody earlier, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have this event next month, and I'm debating whether I fly down and drive back home, or do I just drive both ways? I'm like, well, how long is it? I'm like, oh, 4 hours. And they're like, oh, that's a long drive. I'm like, not really at all. Not really at all, actually. I mean, used to live in Denver. I did 22 hours Denver to Cleveland multiple times with like multiple pets in the car. And it's just like, well, we got to get there. What are you going to do? Like, I think it's just this thing of like, how do we get there? Where do we go?
Yes.
What do we do? And you talked about like the home grow side. So what do we bring into the sandbox, right? I think when you talk about like what we're doing specifically, for me, I think like what we bring to the sandbox is kind of that, you know, I think when you think about like all the different things that you can have your shovel, you can have your pail, like all these different things. Absolutely, you can ad hoc build the sandbox yourself. I think what Dutchie's doing is we used to have a mold that was just for the one tower of the castle, right? We used to have a mold that was just for like the other part of the castle. So we could do like the tower, we could do the front gate, and that was pretty much it. And then it's like, okay, you're going to invite, you know, this group in, that's going to be your like, you know, the center of town. You're going to invite this group in, that's going to be the monastery, whatever, right? Like all these different things, right? Yeah. Now it's gotten to the point where I think we've made a lot of creative decisions in terms of how we develop the product, and also like taking the feedback from the operators that work with us and just going like, okay, this is what we think. This could be a good idea. This could be an absolute crap idea. What do you guys, is this something that you need, or is this something that we're just thinking of as an idea? And I think the thing that really makes me happy about the developments I've seen, and in the 4 years I've been at Dutchie, I've seen a ton, but I've seen us offer something where this is truly, hey, you can do more things in one place. So now I have that full castle, like just fill that with sand, turn it over, you have your beautiful castle right there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Some people still want to just get the tower and the gate from me and do other things. And the nice thing is Dutchie plays really well with the other parts of people's sandboxes, right? So we're like, yeah, bring in the marbles, bring in the hungry hippo that you ripped out of the thing to use as like a shovel, right? Like bring it all in. We have an open API, so it's pretty easy to integrate with things. And like for me, it's this, I've never seen us shy away from doing something that's like best for the customer, especially when it comes to one-off situations or like little individual things. And even when we've like made mistakes and things have gone wrong, right? Like I've seen Dutchie lean in hard from the top down, not just like we have people at the top that go, bah, 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 bah. Like I have been on calls, I have been in the field with my CEO, like the current one, the previous one. Like I have, hey, I'm a resource to you. What do you need? What do we need to help operators? How do we get these things done? Right?
Yeah.
Top-notch support team.
Because you've been specific to Ohio and Missouri. Yeah. Right? So that's probably where you've had these market runs?
Ohio, Missouri, Louisiana, Illinois, Kentucky currently too. Like I'm all over the Midwest, a little bit of the South. But I've just found that like, especially in the new market motion, I would say that has kind of been my specialty over the last few years is how do we go from, okay, we're a medical market that's been awarded to now we're a medical market that's established to now we're making that conversion. So we're going to have operators that are taking their vertical from one side and now they're going to be able to serve both sides of the market. And then we have completely new businesses that are going to get stood up, or, you know, in the case of Ohio, everybody got additional locations that had locations already. So it was kind of like, okay, you have one license, cool, you have one more. You have two, you get two more. You have three, you get three more. Right? And I think there's no one size fits all approach, right? Like everything is going to be completely different. Every person's going to be completely different. Like some people want exactly what they want for the business. They have the vision and they're looking for all the tools that can help them deliver on that. Sometimes I check all those boxes. Sometimes I check 9 out of 10 of those boxes, right?
And you can customize the plan then.
Exactly. So it's very modular. It's like I said, like, yeah, I've got the whole mold where it's like, I want the whole castle in a box. Great, got that, put the sand in, dump it out, it's there. Meanwhile, like you want to build something more yourself, or you're using some systems, or like when I think about cultivators, I talked about this yesterday at our session, like I know people who just majority use metric and spreadsheets, right? But I would also say that those people have a very high level of skill within metrics, so they know, okay, I know what this spreadsheet has to be listed as, where this needs to pull, how this needs to upload. Yeah. So like, there's people in this industry that are very smart and capable of doing anything you can think of. And then there's people in this industry that are like, do as much of this for me as possible.
Right. And as I was talking with Munir on the last episode, like there's a spectrum of folks that are either in this industry or entering this industry. Yeah. And then you have a lot of folks in the middle that are professionals that maybe are serving other markets outside of cannabis as well. And that's sort of the dynamic of the dome of Canna Connect. Yeah. And it's like the folks that are very experienced, hard to get to the seminars, hard to get to the shows, not the shows, but hard to get to the seminars. Right. And then you have folks in the beginning stages, the first-time founders, easier to get to the shows. Yeah. One of the persistent issues that I've seen in the Minnesota cannabis industry is it's hard to find information all in one place. It's hard to find events. Now, we've done a good job of making it easy to find events. 100%. It takes a lot of work. Yeah. But the information is really like I'm assuming you've heard that in other markets as well.
Yeah, it's a little decentralized everywhere, right? I think, you know, there's certain markets where I've seen them do really good jobs of having state level organizations, really good relationships with the regulatory bodies. So, you know, not to harp on the folks I've worked with before, but like Ohio, Missouri, both of those states have good like state level organizations. Now, does everybody in the market participate in those organizations? No, but I mean, I think, you know, some people don't, you know, it's the Groucho Marx adage of I don't want to be a member of any club that would have me, right? And then also like it's the thought of, you know, it is so new, so there's always a degree of like, yeah, we're doing this, we're like putting this on, and then somebody's always going to be like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, Dutchie's been around since 2017, and there's people like, well, tell me what you do, I've never heard of you,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, yeah, of course, because this is all new, right?
Yes.
This is brand new for you, and I think it's overwhelming when you think about the amount of information that's out there, right? Like, we can just talk about, like, from my standpoint, like the software perspective of stuff, and that could take us like a whole thing. But then, like, when we start talking about, okay, it's not just the software, but then also we're factoring in the compliance piece, and then also we're factoring in your employee management. Like, how do you manage your taxes? How are you managing your payroll? How are you like? We start to. It goes from this, oh my God, I got my license. This is cool. Like, it's going to be awesome. We're going to grow weed. We're going to do this, and now it's like, no, you have to make this a real viable business.
Follow Gus on LinkedIn, follow Canna Connect across platforms, and make it out to one of our events. We've got 2 more before the end of the year, and we can't wait to see you again soon.
See you guys in November and December.
Peace.